All right, everyone. This week I'd like to go over the new project for page layout one. This is the final project of the semester. We're getting right down there, and this is a booklet, a program booklet for a conference. It's 8 pages long. The conference itself is fictitious. Okay, so don't go looking for it on your on the calendar at the college website or anything like that. It's actually based on a conference that I went to a year or two ago down at MSU. Okay, so anyway, what this is? Okay, this is a an 8 page art and illustration conference program booklet. Okay, it's set to take place over 3 days at Mid Michigan College and adjoining locations in the Mount Pleasant area. The conference subject is art and illustration, and any artwork they use must be legal. That means free from copyright issues. Okay, now I've put a link to Unsplash. Not only Unsplash, but I had done a search for uh, photos and illustrations that are about art and illustration. So if you click on that, you'll find a lot of excellent high res photos and pieces of artwork that you can use legally without any sort of permission or anything like that. It will ask you for a thank you or something like that, but you don't need to click on that necessarily. Okay, you can also, because this is set at Mid-Michigan College, you can also incorporate the Mid-Michigan College logo into your design. But if you do, read the guidelines on how to use it, okay? There are strict rules on its use and the colors you can use with it. And it's just like any other logo for any other institution or organization or corporation. If they have a logo, they're usually really uptight about how it's used. Mid-Michigan College is no different. So be sure to check that out. As a matter of fact, let me show you. Right here, this is your page of official logo downloads. Okay? And different variations, blue CMYK, blue logo EPS, black CMYK, black logo EPS, white reversed, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is the one that has the name with the icon or the symbol or whatever you want to call it, the mark. This one's just the mark. Okay, and then this is the one that you would use for your email signatures. Okay, all right. Now, if you're going to use this logo or any of the others, you want to check out the style guide. This is the style guide that has, well, here's the official style guide. It's a PDF. It's a few pages long. The stuff that you need to know, though, is basically right here, the official colors and all that. Okay, so if you're going to use the logo, please read over the style guide. Okay, now back to the assignment. Okay, let's look over the specs. Okay, it's an 8 page document, facing pages checked, 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Okay, that is essentially an 8.5 by 11 or letter size sheet folded in half. A lot of programs that you see out there are that size just because it's a convenient size to have printed up cheaply and saddle stitched. Saddle stitched meaning staple in the middle or two. Okay, fold in the middle, staple. Okay, and let's see, we got 0.25, that's a quarter of an inch margins, and a 0.125 inch bleed. Okay. Oh, and it says select graphics and colors that can be repeated throughout the booklet for a cohesive theme. Okay. Now, what I'm probably going to do, I'm probably going to stick with a color scheme that is based on MID's official colors. So we should probably talk about that when we get to that point. All right, so let's go ahead and click on Create New. Now you'll notice that I have both InDesign and my page, my spec sheet page open at the same time. I just think it's easier to have both open so I can refer easily when setting up. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to switch over from picas to inches so I can tell what I'm doing. And let's see, we're going to go with 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, and it's going to be 8 pages long. Make sure that facing pages is clicked. Okay, and doesn't say anything about page number, so I don't have to worry about that. There's nothing really in here about columns, but I think I might click on 2 columns. I just think that might look a little bit better. I don't know. I can always change it later if I want to. I'm sort of getting a idea in my head of what I want this thing to look like, and that's what usually happens. That's what happens with a lot of designers when they start on something. Okay, then we've got our margins here. The margins are 1/4 of an inch. They're at 1/2 right now, so let's take that down. 1/4 of an inch. Notice that it's linked, so if I clicked on one, they all changed. This is linked as well, the bleed, and that is 0.125. So there you go. Just click it once, and you're all set. Let's double check. Let's see. Don't need any of that stuff there. Okay, so we'll create. All right, and there's our first page. Now this page is going to be our cover. Okay, so let's go ahead and start playing around with that. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for just a moment. Okay, there's our cover. I'm gonna start playing around with some color blocks here. So let's see. I think I'm going to bring in one right here, and let's say one right about here. Okay, that's like I said, I'm kind of designing in my head a little bit, and then what I'm going to start doing is putting in some boxes. Actually, I'm going to move this down a little bit more. Same with this one here. Let's put it right about there. There. I want this thing to be a little bit off center. I don't like things that are perfectly even and all that. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller again because I want to use the official colors for mid. All right, so let's go ahead and click on our official colors here. All right, now let's click back here. We're going to add a box right there. Now, when you click on the rectangle tool and you know, make something out of it, the rectangle tool or the ellipse tool or the polygon tool, it usually defaults back to just a black stroke with no fill. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the stroke because I don't want a stroke on this. After all, it's already outside of the bleed anyway, so it wouldn't even show up. So there's no point in having that. So now I've got just a box that has basically it's nothing. There's nothing to it. There's no stroke. There's no fill. Now let's go ahead and bring the fill forward. Double click on it, and when you double click on the fill, this is your colors here. Okay. Let's see. Just don't want to do that. RGB color space view. Now it's going to say RGB color space view even if it's CMYK because your monitor is RGB. Now what I'm going to do though, right now when you click on that it automatically goes to a black fill. I'm going to go ahead and put in my CMYK colors which are listed right here. So let's go ahead and put in the cyan, the magenta, which is 57, the yellow, which is 0, and the black, or key, that's what the K is for, that's at 48. And then OK. And there's the official Laker blue right there. Okay. Now, I think what I'm going to do next is maybe add a swatch of light gray. So I'm going to butt that right up against it, about like that. That's a little bit too much. Let's adjust that down just a hair. Okay. All right. And again, you'll see that it defaulted to a black stroke with nothing. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to, for the sake of ease, I'm just going to switch them out and then double click. And then with this, what we've got, this is a light gray, so everything but the black is zeros. So all we got to do is click on black or key and type in 10. So that's a very light gray. Okay, and then at the bottom here, what we're going to do is the same basic thing again. There, right there, and do the same thing again. We're going to switch these out, double click here, and then change this to, well, this mid cyan is just cyan. That's all that is. So all you got to do is just punch in 100 right there, and take this down to 0. And there's your basic mid colors right there. Okay. Now we need to start adding something that makes it a little more interesting. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add a logo to this area up here. Or maybe this one down here. I don't know. You got to think about it. I think I'll go with this one up here. Now, if you go onto your logo page and download these, you're going to find something kind of interesting. I already went ahead and downloaded a number of things. Okay, these are illustrations and photos from Unsplash, and I've got a couple of logos right here. Okay, if you download the white EPS logo, it doesn't look like anything. It looks like a white rectangle, but it actually is the logo. It's just against a background that also is white. So don't be confused if you happen to see it show up in your preview box when you download it as just being white. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and place. This is going to take me to this right here, which is my Art211 folder where I've got stuff stashed. Open that, and there it is. Now, you'll notice that it looks a little bit chunky right here, a little bit bitmappy, but you know that's not a big deal because this is it's just a link, remember. It's just a low-res link. I'm going to go ahead and double-click on this so I can make it smaller. I'm holding down my Shift key to keep it proportionate. Okay. There's my logo, and I'm just starting to move it around a little bit to see, make it a little bit smaller. Thinking about how I want to arrange this thing, how I want to play with it. Got to be within my margins here. Okay, that looks okay. Let's put it right up there in the corner. And I'm thinking about what else I want to have throughout this thing. Okay, now notice that I place it inside of the box, so it's going to stay within this box no matter what I do. So if I decide that I want to change it and put it like down here or something, I'd have to probably copy this and then paste it in here, or just paste it into this box like right from the source file. But I think that looks okay. I think that's going to work all right. Now I just need to start making it look a little more interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and start adding things um, beyond the logo. Now, what I'm going to need to do though is I'm going to need to change the opacity on some of these things to create what it is that I'm thinking about doing. What I want to do is I want to take some artwork and put it down here in this block here. Okay, but I'm not going to actually put it in the block. I'm going to more or less stack some stuff and use an effect to keep the mid colors going on. So I'm going to have that down here, my dividing line here, and I'm going to have the title of the conference in through here. I think that should look pretty sharp. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a box. I'm going to create it about the same size as this one here. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside for now, just so I don't get things kind of messed up. Okay, and while that's selected, I'm going to do a place. And I'm going to grab a piece of artwork. I think this one's actually pretty nice. So I'm going to open that. Now, I got to tell you, this thing is huge. I mean, look at that. You're not seeing very much of it at all in this window. But that's an easy fix. So I'm going to zoom out quite a ways here so I can adjust the size of it. So I'm going to double click on it, and yeah, look at the size of that thing. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and I'm going to start moving it in and making it smaller. Okay, and notice that it's only showing up in that little window there. So let's use the hand here, move it down a little bit, make it smaller still, and smaller still. Go back to the hand, move it down. So if you download stuff from Unsplash, don't be dismayed if it looks really huge. You can still use it. You just have to make it work. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, now I'm going to zoom back in here. And there. Now, there, we should be pretty well set. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is while this is still here, I'm gonna grab my blue block here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Now it's sort of in front of that the artwork. But what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to click on Effects here, and let's see. Let's change that to Overlay. Okay, now you can see what it's doing here. I can take this, move it into place right there, and just a little bit more here. I got to adjust the sizing of the box right there so I have a full bleed, and there we go. Now what we've got is we've got this artwork, and it's combined of the blue from mid and a little bit of black. You know, if you want to experiment a little bit further, you can go with like here. Let's go ahead and click this again. If you go with like soft light, multiply. Multiply is not bad. I don't know. That might be a little bit dark though. Let's see. Color dodge. Ooh, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to use overlay. I'm going to use color dodge. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Really digging that. Okay, and then, you know, I haven't done a save yet. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'll do a save as. So save your progress as you go. And we'll call this, let's see, we'll call it Art 211 Booklet 1. Okay, I'm calling it Booklet 1 because it's a lot of times a good idea to save multiple versions of your work. So if you really screw up and it's further than you can go through the undo, you've got an earlier version available. So a lot of times I'll have like version 1, 2, and 3. I'm also going to put this in my Art 211 thing. And there we go. So now it's saved and I'm ready to continue on. Okay, now let's double check here and see what the name of this thing is. Okay, this is the Mid-Michigan Mid-Michigan College Art and Illustration Forum. That's the title. So that's what I'm going to grab right now. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Okay, now I'm going to go back here and let's make that bigger again. And now let's go ahead and I'll just make a text box. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, and then edit, paste. Okay, now what shows up is the dullest, what is Minion Pro, and I got to tell you too, this is a major no-no, having a black type on blue. I saw something just the other day, which was professionally done, or supposedly professionally done, and boy, you just couldn't even read the thing because they had put black type against a really dark blue, darker than this. Okay, so now I'm going to start formatting my my stuff here. I think the first thing I'm going to do is make this white. So I got a white fill there. I don't want a stroke on it. I'm probably going to eventually make this align right, so I have it over on this side here to balance out the Mid-Michigan College thing. I might put a graphic in here behind this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I want to do. Okay. Anyway, let's start changing this. Let's make this into a decent font. I don't want anything too cartoony. So let's start looking. I have a lot of fonts that are kind of comic booky looking, but I want this to be somewhat classy since it's representing the college. And that's something you want to think about too when you're designing something. If it's for an organization or a a corporation, you're going to want to stick with what they want. I'm gonna try this Tratatello here. Yeah, that looks pretty. That looks pretty cool. I think I used it recently for something else. And then let's make that a little bit bigger. That's way too big. So let's start sizing it down. Okay, now I don't have to stick with that size box. I can actually do something like that. And while this is selected here, let's go ahead and let's make this align right. It's getting there. Not quite. Art and Illustration Forum. That may be a little bit too much. I'm not liking where the breaks are happening. Art and Illustration Forum. I could just do this the hard way. Take this. Oh, blech, no, don't like that. Let's look at the spacing there. Sometimes you have to do a little spacing by hand. I think I'll just go like this route here and just make it just a little bit. Set it right there. Maybe I made it just a little bit smaller. And this is stuff you gotta kind of think about when you're doing this sort of thing. You know, is how you want it to look. Now, here's the thing about that too. I could also put it down here, you know, play around with that idea. But you notice that it really didn't show up against the the illustration. All right, so I kind of like that. I'm going to shore up the box a little bit now that I have the size figured out, so I don't accidentally have boxes overlapping each other. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this stuff, like all that, and I'm going to lock those in place. I'm not sure about if I would like the size of that right there. I might have to make that a little bit smaller, maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I just feel like it's a little bit big. Okay, now we need to put a date in here. I was thinking of putting the date down through this area right here. So let's go back to our thing here and get the date. Again, this is fictitious. Oh, it would have already happened. And we'll copy that. And bring InDesign back up. And go ahead and create another text box. I should probably start at this end and head out this way. And then paste that. Now, the thing is about the date. Well, I could use the font that I just used, that Tranatello thing. But I'm not sure that I want to. I need to see how it looks. If it's too weird looking or too wonky, that's not really going to work. So let's go ahead and let's align that correctly, and let's make it a little bit bigger so we can actually see. Actually, that's pretty readable. That's not too bad. That actually wound up being better than I thought. Now I'm going to make this box smaller again. I have to be careful it doesn't get too small because of the descender here on the Y. It really comes down quite a ways. The ascenders don't go up quite as far. But that's, okay, I think that's working pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select all of this stuff, and I am going to lock all of that so it doesn't get moved by mistake or anything like that. Okay, now, no, oh, don't freak out if you start scrolling back and forth and it looks like your stuff disappeared. It hasn't. It's just you know, saving wear and tear on the vid card probably. Okay, now so there's the cover. The next step is probably going to be to start doing the back cover and the interior, but we're already at almost a half an hour, so I think that's probably plenty. I'll do another video for next week formatting the interior. Okay? All right, I will talk to you guys later.